What's up everybody, it's Kelsee Briana J here with an overview and a tutorial using the new Huda Beauty Nude eyeshadow palette. And I'm excited to have this palette finally. After months and months of teasing us with this palette, it's finally launched in Sephora as well as on her website. Oh my goodness, I think I've known about this palette no less than 2 months. I've had it written down in my notes for things to buy. And so it finally launched on November 1st. And you guys know I was in Sephora the minute that it opened to get this palette. I went up there looking completely crazy, but that's okay. I went up there for you all to be able to bring you all this video. So let's go ahead and jump into the details of this palette and then let's get into the tutorial. So here's what the box of the palette looks like. It has Nude Huda Beauty eyeshadow palette. It has a net weight of 19.7 grams of products or 0.69 ounces in each pan. Really pretty. It's got this millennial pink going on. And here's the actual palette. It has Huda's face on it. And again, it says Nude Huda Beauty. And you all know Huda Beauty is no stranger to putting her face on her products. Huda Beauty's mentality is if she doesn't put herself on her products, then nobody else will. So you are not going to accuse her of having low self-esteem because your girl is feeling herself, okay? She makes sure she is accurately represented. And then when you open up the palette, it does have a mirror, and then here are the eyeshadows. So this palette retails for $65. And the description of this palette from Huda Beauty's website reads, introducing the new Nude palette. This all-in-one eyeshadow palette consists of 18 highly pigmented shades, ranging from flattering mattes to shimmer-drenched hues, and has everything you need to transform your lids. The carefully curated lineup is studded with easy-to-use combinations, from soft berry to dusty copper and rosy pink to golden taupe tones. Also, it says that this palette is supposed to reinvent nudes. So it's supposed to redefine the way that we're looking at nudes. There's 18 shades in this palette. And it says the matte eyeshadows are formulated with aloe vera and coconut oil. You know, coconut oil keeps the skin soft and smooth. So the majority of this palette is comprised of matte eyeshadows. There are 10 matte eyeshadows in this palette. And there are 4 reflective shades in this palette, and they have pearl reflex in them. There's one pressed pearl eyeshadow, which is like a shimmery type eyeshadow. It is the sole shimmery eyeshadow in this palette. And then the last 2 shades are glitter eyeshadows. They are literally pressed glitter. It's so cool how she does that. The last product in this palette that we're going to talk about is the concealer base. I know that they are counting that as a shade, but it's not technically a shade. It's an eyeshadow base, which they conveniently included in this palette, which I know is some mixed feelings about that. Honestly, I was kind of on the fence about that myself. I'm a neat person in terms of my makeup and just the cleanliness and how it looks. I didn't know how I was going to feel about a sticky product being in my powder eyeshadow because I thought it would look dirty. And honestly, it looks exactly like how I thought it was going to look. But I think this eyeshadow palette is pretty uniquely configured. Huda Beauty is really the only person that I know that has ever put pressed glitter, like only glitter, not an eyeshadow base, not like a glittery eyeshadow, but just straight up glitter in a pan and put it in an eyeshadow palette. I think that that's really cool, but also keep in mind that because there are pressed glitters in this eyeshadow palette and then these shimmery eyeshadows, that this eyeshadow palette has more of a tendency to break. So I would not travel with this palette, but keeping it at home and keeping it in a very safe and secure place is top priority, just to keep these eyeshadows intact. So I know that the name of this eyeshadow palette is the new Nude eyeshadow palette, and I know a lot of people are not agreeing that this is actually a nude eyeshadow palette. It's nudish, but it's more mauve-y nude. I think that a more accurate word would have been neutral, so like maybe neutral colors. But the names of these eyeshadows are so kinky. Like one of them is Bear, Play, Crave, Fantasy, Love Bite, Spanked. She has a name called Kinky, okay? Infatuated. Let's see, she has a name called Raw. So she just went all the way out there. In addition to this palette, she launched 3 new eyeshadow brushes. These are dual-sided brushes. I honestly am not the biggest fan of dual-sided brushes. I don't like having to store them flat side up. I like my brushes to have their own individual personality and be able to, you know, stand on their own. But if you're interested in that, she has a build and blend brush, which looks like a flat shader brush. and a blending brush, and that one is $18. She has a smoke and smudge brush, which again looks like a flat shader brush, and then a really small detailer smudge brush. And then the most interesting brush of them all is the Fender Blender applicator, which is an application brush, which is meant to be used with the chunkier glitter and metallic eyeshadows in this palette. And it has like a plastic applicator on one side and a sponge tip applicator on the other side, which I don't care for sponge tip applicators, but the opposite side that has that plastic applicator is supposed to really smooth out that glitter and help it adhere a little bit better. But I found that I really didn't need that when applying these glitters. My synthetic hair brush that I already had in my collection sufficed. If you want to get that just to have an extra tool, something that's a little bit cooler to use, something that's special to go with the palette, then go for it. Otherwise, you can use whatever you have at home already. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into swatches of this palette, and I'm going to swatch it row by row. Now, when I get to the glitter shades, I'm going to swatch those shades on top of the concealer base, because swatching glitter shades is always going to swatch chunky. It's always going to look patchy because glitter does not swatch properly. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at all of these swatches out on the internet. But I just want to let you guys know that before we jump into the swatches. So I hope that you all enjoy, and I will talk to you all soon. So first, I'm going to take some of this concealer. This is an Esom W23 brush. And let's apply that all over. Okay. So this concealer is pretty neutral. It feels kind of sticky, which is good, because then it's going to help those eyeshadows stick. So now I'm going to dip into Bare, and this is a NARS number 42 brush, and let's set this concealer. Now I'm going to go in with Teddy, and this is the same brush. And let's apply this in our crease as our transition color. Oh wow, that's very pigmented. So back and forth. Let's deposit this color. Very pigmented palette, but just deposit this color and then go back and forth to diffuse it. And I'm going to switch to a MAC 217, a more tapered, compact blending brush. I'm going to dip into the color Raw. Make sure you're tapping off your brush to get rid of the excess. And I'm going to move down slightly and apply this directly in the crease. So just back and forth. I do have a little bit of fallout, but I'm just going to dust it away. That color is so intense. I ended up having to blend it out more because I applied a lot initially. So definitely go in light-handedly, because you're going to get a lot of impact dipping it even lightly. So just a little bit goes a long way. So same brush, and I'm going to take Tease. And I am going to take that right on the very outer corner and pack that color on the outer corner and blend it up to the crease. Oh wow, that took absolutely no time to blend that out. That's kind of impressive. So you all know I have to try these glitters. I'm going to take my 242 flat shader brush, and I'm going to dip into the color Crave. And let's see what this does. Oh my gosh, it's actually a little bit smooth. I am going to carefully place that on my inner corner and blend it over. Okay, wow. This is by itself is giving really intense color payoff, and that glitter is adhering. So you all know I put that concealer down at first, but I didn't reapply it, which I thought I may have to, just because I thought it would be kind of like crumbly, but this is very smooth. Now, because I'm curious, I want to take one of those straight glitter shades. I want to try out Infatuated. I dug in too hard, and I already know I have too much on my brush. I'm wiping my brush off with the paper towel, and then I'm going to pick up a lot less. And I'm going to press that on that empty space on my lid. So just tap, 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 tap. It's building up a little bit slow. I think I should go back in with a little bit more of that concealer. With that concealer that I had at first and my original concealer brush, I'm just going to lightly reapply that right where I want this glitter to be. I'm just going to keep building this up until it is completely opaque on that area on the lid, and then tap it next to this color and make sure it's blended, and tap it next to the inner corner color and make sure it's blended, and also tap it next to the edge of the crease and make sure it's blended. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye and add liner and lashes, and I'll be right back. I love these lashes. They are by a brand called Icon Lashes, and these are in the style Brooklyn. So pretty. But let's go ahead and finish off this look. So now I have a really small detailer brush. This is a MAC 228 brush. I'm gonna pick up a bit of the color Spanked. Let's put that in the middle on the lower lash line. Remember, these are really pigmented, so be careful. And same brush, and I'm gonna take Love Bite. Let's apply that on the very outer corner and connect it to the top, and let's buff that out. And here is the final look. So let's do a final overview on this palette. I love my look that I created. I think it's so pretty. It was really easy to do. And looking at this palette, it's easy to see why some people can be intimidated. But once you understand the learning curve of this palette and really understand how to use it to its fullest capacity, then you'll really like the palette, especially if these are colors that you are drawn to. This palette is very well formulated. The mattes in this palette are really pretty. I like that one lone shimmer shade. That one is pretty as well. And the glitters are absolutely gorgeous. I really like the concealer, and honestly I was a person who was kind of opposed to it at first. I was like, I don't need a concealer. I have concealers, I have glitter glues, but it's convenient, it's sticky, it helps these eyeshadows adhere, it helps the glitters adhere. It's a little bit lighter, so if you're deeper than about a MAC NC45 or a caramel type complexion, then this may be a little bit lighter for you. But if you're a deeper complexion, use your regular eyeshadow base. You can use this on the lid and then it'll help it adhere and it'll get covered up anyway, so don't worry if you feel like it's just going to be so light. The color combination works for my complexion. I think that this will work for even deeper complexions, but just know you're not going to have a lot of different shades to use as transition colors or deepening colors. But if you're a deeper complexion, then just look at this as a palette full of lid shades. That's the way to go when looking at palettes that you feel like are a little bit lighter, because it's not going to have every element that you need if you're a deeper complexion. If you're lighter complected, then you'll have a lot of different options with this. You can use a few of these colors as transition colors. You can use a few of these colors in your crease. Truly the only deep color in this palette is this one, and even still then it's not like super deep. So just understand that you're gonna have to reach out and get richer tones to use in conjunction with this palette if you are deeper complected. But if you're medium complected, you have a few more options. You can use Tease as a transition color, you can use Raw as a transition color, Spanked, and I used Teddy. So those all show up really pigmented. And then of course you have Love Bite as a deepening color. Like Lace, Play, Tickle, Bear, all those colors are lighter, so all they're gonna be for me is lid shades. So I feel like the matte colors blended out so easily, so effortlessly. A little bit goes a very long way. But do not dip your brush into any of these eyeshadows like you're used to doing. Do it very lightly because you're gonna get a lot of pigment payoff. These eyeshadows are very pigmented, they're very soft, so the lightest touch is gonna pick up enough, and it's easier to go back in a few times with colors than it is to go in with a fully saturated brush and go on the lid and then have to spend the rest of your time blending it out and working it out. So less is more with this, especially these glitter shades. I would work a little bit at a time. These glitters in here, easy to work with, but just know you are going to have to use an additional adhesive. If you don't want to use this concealer, then just know you're going to have to use a glitter glue or something that's very tacky to grip those glitter particles, because without that it's going to fall, because it is literal pressed glitter. But overall, I think the palette is so dope. Very beautiful concept. Huda Beauty did a great job on this palette. I feel like her eyeshadow formula is just getting better and better and better. I'm curious to see what she's going to come out with next. I'm happy with this purchase. I think that it's really pretty. It's very on trend. Let me know if you plan on picking it up. It does not say that it's limited edition, but I know that it is hot and in demand, so I anticipate it selling out, especially for the holidays. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. And if you have not already, make sure you like, make sure you comment, and make sure you subscribe. And I will talk to you all in my very next video. Smooches. Bye.